ready, Bo?
Let's go.
Dr. Shields, activated, Mr. Sulu.
Automatic, sir.
And we're pushing to the limit.
Situation critical.
Base of action.
Can't break loose. Peace or utter destruction. It's up to you.
Star Trek, Saturdays at 9, 8 Central on MeTV. Brought to you by Ventura TV.
Hi, I'm John Malos, and welcome to this special edition of Connect with Me here on Comcast Channel 187 and 43.6. No phone calls today. A special guest in the studio, the youngest man who wants to travel around the world solo in an airplane. We've got him in our studio coming up next on Connect with Me.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
A special edition of Connect with Me on this day, this special day. We've got a guest in the studio that's just 20 years old. Now, I want you to think back before I get into this monologue real quick. Think back as to when you were 20 years old. Many of you out there that watch all these old programs on MeTV, like, you know, Star Trek and I Love Lucy, what were you doing when you were 20 years old? Did the thought ever cross your mind that I'm going to fly around the world solo by myself just so I can get my name in the Guinness Book of World Records? Where our guest today wants to do exactly that. Let's go to the videotape and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Jack Wiegand is not your typical 20-year-old. He is mature well beyond his years. I mean, he may look like a 20-year-old, but when it comes to drive and determination, he acts more like someone who's twice his age. Wiegand had this dream to fly around the world solo since he was a kid. Now he's got a chance to do it and live out the dream this week as he takes off from Fresno Yosemite International Airport, headed to Boulder, Colorado, and from there he'll be off and running, or should I say off and flying, to set a world record. His name in the Guinness Book of World Records, that is, as the youngest ever to fly around the world solo. Hey, you've got 24 stops, 14 countries, all in a matter of 50 days if he makes it. Believe it or not, even at this tender age, Jack has roughly 700 flight hours under his belt. This is the actual plane that he'll be using when he takes off a Mooney Ovation 2GX, a single engine that seats 4 people. He'll be alone. Live in our studio right now is Jack Wiegand, a Bullard High graduate. He's from Fresno. He went to Malik Elementary, then Tenaya Middle School, and then on to Bullard. He is our special guest today. This program is on tape. He'll take off this week. By the way, since the program is on tape, you know, it means no phone calls. Sorry about that. But he is going to try to put his name in the Guinness Book of World Records as he takes off from Fresno, flying around the globe, the youngest ever to do so if he makes it. Back with our special guest in just a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean Dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
You know, what were you doing when you were 20? Were you thinking about marrying your high school sweetheart? Were you thinking about going on to college, playing on the football team? Were you thinking about who knows what you might be doing in life in general, with your career, with your life? Are you going to get married and have kids? What will you do? I don't know about you, but boy, when I was 20, I was not thinking about flying around the world. Our guest here today is going to do exactly that. Jack Wiegand, how are you?
Good, great. Thank you for having me on.
So you're only 20?
Yes, that's.
Oh my
that's-
God, you're
that's true.
mature well beyond your years, my friend. You look 20, but I tell you, you sure don't act it.
Well, thank
it's amazing.
you. Yeah, no, some will say I look younger than 20, but
You look 14 still.
that's true.
Hey, listen, let's cut to the chase. Why are you doing this?
Yeah, I think it originally was to break a Guinness Book of World Records. As a young kid, I always would read those books and think, well, how cool would it be to break a world record? But throughout time, as this whole process has kind of progressed, it's a lot more than just breaking a record.
What is it?
It's kind of doing something bigger than yourself, I think. Seeking an adventure. I love a good adventure, and I think doing this flight has so many interesting things that go into it. It's just been a lot of fun preparing for it.
Yeah, and so what do you have to do to prepare for a trip like this? Tell me.
Yeah, the preparation's where the whole trip comes into play, and that's what I've been preparing here for about the last 9 months, really. I go to the University of Colorado, but I'm currently taking the semester off just to plan this around-the-world trip. And
How long now have you gone to University of Colorado?
I'm a sophomore in
Okay.
Colorado right now.
Okay.
Currently taking the semester off.
Right,
So,
right.
Next year, I guess I'll still go in as a sophomore, and I'll have to kind of catch up on credits. But yeah, that's the year I am. But you're asking about the preparation that goes.
Yeah,
into
so
this, and
you've been
it's-
you've been prepping now for 9 months. What do you do to prep?
A lot of it is making contacts in these different countries. So I have a main handler, is what we call them, in Canada, and that person in Canada will distribute other handlers in other countries. So you have to have all that aligned before you get there, because when you get there, that handler is going to shake your hand when you get off the tarmac, and they're going to say, okay, this is where you're staying tonight, this is how you're going to get there, this is what's happening to your plane while you're here. They
Oh, I
take
see.
care
You
of
got
everything.
24 stops to make,
Exactly.
and at each stop you have a handler. So your
exactly.
main handler is in Canada,
In
that's
Canada,
setting
and
up
they're-
all the other
they're-
handlers.
Exactly. Yeah. It's kind of an interesting. It's kind of an interesting process, but it's necessary.
All right. So the handler in whatever country you might be landing in takes care of the hotel, takes care of the meals.
They take care of me. I mean, that's pretty much that's their mission. Mainly the plane, and what's going to happen to the plane while it's there, whether it needs
Have somebody guarding the plane or watching the plane.
all the airports I'm landing at are big international airports, so they're reinforced with lots of security. But yeah, they make sure the plane is secured and safe.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And so do you expect that you'll get a lot of national, maybe even worldwide media attention on
I
this?
do, yeah. I actually I have a stop in London where I will be meeting local KMJ newscaster Ray Appleton.
Okay.
And I'm going to be doing a broadcast from there. And then other places in the world I expect to get some publicity, definitely.
You know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to say you're going to meet the paparazzi in London, but I wasn't quite sure about that. But
Yeah.
Ray Appleton is going to be there about the
Ray
same
Appleton,
time.
yeah, he's going to be there about the same time, and that just happened to work out by coincidence.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to do a show right out of London.
Right. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I want to do is I want to put up some graphics on
Okay.
the route that you're going to take. Let's put the first one up. We know you're going to fly out of Fresno to
There it
Boulder,
is.
Colorado, and from
That's
there,
correct.
take us through the map here, Jack.
Yeah, so I'm going to Boulder just because it's where I go to school, of course. Going to say goodbye to my friends, and my sister also goes there. But then we go over to New York. From New
Where do you land, in JFK or?
No, not gonna. I'm gonna land at Westchester, New
Okay,
York.
all right.
So yeah, not right in the heart of the city, but
Right.
I'm gonna be there. Then from there, I go up to Goose Bay, Canada. From Goose Bay, I go up to Iqaluit, Canada. And Iqaluit's, I don't even know if many Canadians have been to Iqaluit. It's kind of so far removed from everything.
Right.
But I'm doing that for the sole purpose of trying to avoid as much water as I possibly can. And you can kind of see that with the map.
And then where do you go from there?
From there, I'm on to Nuuk, Greenland, which is the capital, 15,000 people in Nuuk. From Nuuk, I go to Reykjavik, then down to London, then over to Rome, which is just south. From Rome, I go to Crete, and then from Crete, I go to Cairo.
Okay. Do we need to change this now?
I
Okay.
think,
Yeah.
There,
All right,
there we
go.
are right there. So from Cairo, I make a big stretch across Saudi Arabia, a little bit of Jordan, over to Dubai.
All right.
And then Dubai, I have a big long stretch over the Indian Ocean there, or the Arabian Sea, over to Mumbai, India. And you can kind of see I'm going very far south compared to you know, what looks like it would make sense, and that would be across Russia. But you know, just north of Dubai there and over that ocean is countries like Afghanistan, Iran,
Right.
things like that. So you
Right.
avoid those countries for obvious
Exactly.
reasons.
Exactly. I see you go to the Manila, you go to the Philippines, you go to Manila.
I do, yeah. So from Mumbai, I'm over to Chittagong, Bangladesh, then down to Bangkok, Thailand, and then over to Manila in the Philippines.
Right.
And then if we go next slide, where are we here? Manila, I go north up to Okinawa, Japan, which is an island very far south of the mainland of Japan. From Okinawa, I go to Kobe, Japan, which is just a couple hours south of Tokyo. Then from there up to Sapporo. Then Sapporo to Adak is my kind of my stretch home. It's my stretch back to the United States soil. And that's about 1,800 nautical miles, about 11 hours of flying. So a long trip, yeah. From Adak, I go to Anchorage, Alaska. Anchorage down to Ketchikan, Ketchikan to Seattle, Seattle to Fresno.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 24 stops, 14 countries, 50 days if you make it.
Yes.
I mean, I keep saying if you make it. Do you have any doubt in your mind that you're going to make it?
No, I don't have any doubt in my mind, and that's what, you know, preparation's all about. So I've been preparing for this trip for such a long time now, and, you know, all you can do in a trip like this is just try and get as comfortable with the flight before you even go, you know, as you possibly can. And if you do that, you should stay safe throughout the entire time.
Right. Now, you're going to take off sometime this week. Of course, this show is on tape, so we don't want to date anything, but there may be some delays, right? A couple of days here and there.
Possibly.
Because, why?
So right now the plane is up in Stockton, having some maintenance done on it. The plane will be done today, and I will then fly it down south to Fresno, and I should be able to leave Wednesday.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons for delay would be maintenance if they don't get the plane done in time.
Right. That's important. Hey, you're going to be traveling with a satellite phone, I understand?
I will, yes.
Hey, you might be able to call in
That'd be great.
on Connect with Me
I
live.
could do that.
Would you like to do
Yeah,
that? We'll give you the number to
that'd
call
be cool.
in.
That'd
Of course,
be
you have
really
to hit
cool.
like 10 up. No, I'm kidding. You'll have to hit option 11 to get in here, but we'll get you in if you want to
Okay.
call in. We're talking with Jack Wiegand. He is 20 years old. His goal is to try to fly around the world in 50 days. That'll be a Guinness Book World of Records if he does. We're back with our special program. No phone calls on this day. Sorry about that. We're back with our program in just a moment.
I love a joke.
Say, Lucy,
Yeah, Ricky?
a tramp came up to me in the street and he said he hadn't had a bite in weeks.
What'd you do, bite him? Opening butler joke, buddy, come on.
The master says to the butler, Jeeves, did you put fresh water in the goldfish bowl? And the butler says, why? They didn't drink up what I gave them last night.
You know that ancient joke about the guy who saves his regiment, shoots the cook?
No. How does it go?
I do want to thank one person in particular for getting Jack Wiegand in here today, and he is Doug Betts, of course, and he has been a guest on this program before. He knows flying, he knows Jack, and he agreed to come in here with him, and I appreciate that from Doug. Very nice of him to bring you in, by the way, Jack. And so you're going to be flying around the world, taking off this week from Fresno. 24 stops, 14 countries. The question is, okay, you want to try to break the record for the youngest to ever fly around the world, Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah.
Now, they require some type of documentation. What are you going to do to document your trip that it actually took place?
Yeah, so they send you a very specific set of guidelines that you have to follow on a world record
Such
attempt.
as?
Such as when you get to an airport, you have to have like a color photo with your airplane and a recognizable landmark. So maybe the tower. You have to have a signature and a contact at this country confirming that you were there.
So if you take the picture, you got an iPhone, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got an iPhone, you take a picture with your iPhone, you're all set to go.
Yeah, well, you know, to be honest, I need to look into all the specific requirements a little more.
Yeah.
But they're pretty well laid out in this documentation they send you.
Right, and so you're familiar with what you have to do along the way.
I am.
Okay, because heaven forbid you take this trip around the world
And
and
yeah,
they
you
don't
don't
document
get
it, and then it doesn't get in the record books.
Yeah.
And then you'll have to do it all over again.
Exactly. That's a good idea.
So some of the other things that you have to do to document are what?
Well, like I was mentioning, you have to have a contact in each of these locations, and they have to submit a business card so they can be contacted by Guinness Book of World Records, just confirming that you are there. One of the biggest things, one of the more obvious things, is you have to be by yourself the entire time. So during no leg of the flight can you have a passenger in the airplane.
Okay.
And that kind of plays into the psychology of this whole trip. It's going to be, difficult to be by yourself the entire time. You face boredom and things like that.
Right, and well, you'll have a phone, a satellite phone. You'll
I
be
will
able to
have
make
a
some
satellite
calls.
phone. Yeah, I'll be able to make calls from the air, but it's difficult to.
What will it mean to have your name in the record books? I mean, okay, so your name is in the book. Okay, now what? What significance will it have as far as you're concerned?
As far as I'm concerned, I think just having that record kind of shows how much work you put in to make your goal happen.
So in other words, it shows hard work and determination?
It shows hard work and determination, yeah, exactly.
Right, and discipline?
Yeah, all those things. There's not very many people who have flown around the world. I think there's 300 to 400 people that have flown around the world.
Yeah.
That's less people that have been in space. So, the record, it's interesting and it's very cool, but that's not why I'm doing this flight. It's not the motivation behind it.
Right. I want to turn you to the monitor and show this piece of videotape. No, around here, Jack. Around the other way. Sorry. This monitor here. We're going to talk about your flight that's called Solo 2013, and we'll talk about the plane on the other side of this piece here. Go ahead and roll it.
My name is Jack Wiegand, and this summer I will become the youngest person to solo an airplane around the world. Name of the mission is Solo 2013. And it has that name for a couple different reasons. First reason is because it's solo, so I'm by myself the entire time. That's just to satisfy the Guinness Book of World Records requirements. Second part is 2013 is the year I'm leaving on this trip. 20 is the age I currently am right now and the age I will be when I break the world record, and 13 is the age I started flying gliders. My parents, actually, they gave me a glider flight for my 13th birthday. I always joke with them that could have been the worst financial decision they've ever made in their life. The age I am is really what's unique. It's the world record to become the youngest person to fly an airplane around the world, but most people don't take people my age that serious. So for someone to see someone like myself that actually has a goal and does things to meet his goal, I think is kind of unique in its own. 24 different stops, 14 different countries, taking off from Fresno just to return to Fresno some 50 days later. I'm not going to think about it like I'm going around the world. The mindset I'm going to have is just that today I'm going from point A to point B. There's been about 300 to 400 people who have flown around the world in a small plane. When you think about that number, that's less people that have been in space. If I'm going to do something like this, I might as well try and promote a couple really cool charities. 2 charities I'm doing are Big Brothers Big Sisters and Ag Warriors at the International Agri Center. It's way more work than I would have imagined, but it's worth it. I will have accomplished something that no other person my age has ever done.
Absolutely beautiful. That's a beautifully produced piece here. We'll turn you back around, Jack. And so that's called Solo 2013. Talk about the plane. It's a Mooney Ovation 2GX.
Yeah,
what is
it's
that?
a Mooney Ovation. It's just a small single-engine airplane, and a lot of people would look at a small single-engine airplane and say, you know, you're absolutely crazy for going around the world in a single-engine airplane. But the plane actually has some really cool safety features about it, which make it a great plane for this kind of trip.
Such as what?
Such as it has anti-icing capabilities along the wing, so it has a fluid you put in it called TKS. And what this fluid does is you just put it in the airplane, and then when you get into icing conditions, which can be very hazardous to flight, you turn it on, seeps out on the wing, and it deflects any ice that comes on the airplane. So that's a really great feature about the airplane. It has 2 Garmin 1000 autopilots in it.
What does that mean?
It's basically like getting 2 11-inch laptop screens and putting them right in the plane. So in the olden day, you would see all these round instruments in an airplane. That still exist, of course, but this airplane, all those round instruments are displayed digitally on those 2 screens. What else does it have? It has extra fuel tanks in it, which give you range capability.
What's the furthest you can fly without stopping in that plane?
I can fly 2,400 nautical miles without stopping.
Okay.
And when you think
what
about,
altitude?
That would be around 18,000 feet.
Okay. Do you have to wear an oxygen mask to
You
get
do.
up that high in that plane?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you get past 12,500 feet for more than 30 minutes, you're required to have oxygen. And then
Does that worry you a little bit, or?
No, because I have oxygen with me.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have oxygen that I can hook up to at any time.
Not an issue then?
No, it's not. You know, it's not that comfortable. It's not as comfortable as a pressurized airplane, but it definitely works.
All right. We're talking to a young 20-year-old, Jack Wiegand, out of Fresno. He went to Bullard High, and now, of course, he goes to the University of Colorado, taking some time off to try to fly around the world, around the globe, and try to put his name in the Guinness Book of World Records. We're back with our special program here today on Connect with Me in just a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the save energy, save time, save money place. The Energy Star qualified #1 rated high efficiency Cabrio from Whirlpool Place. You heard right. Right now, save big on select Whirlpool Cabrio laundry pairs and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
Back here on Connect with Me with 20-year-old Jack Wiegand, and he is going to be trying to fly around the world. And let me ask you something before we get into the next videotape, and I want to get into that video because it shows you flying at the age of 14. It's amazing. Yeah. When I was 14, I was thinking about playing baseball, not flying a plane. But anyway, so the longest leg on this trip will be what?
The longest leg on the trip is from Sapporo, Japan to Adak, Alaska, which
How
is
many hours?
It's about 1,800 nautical miles, like I said, 11 hours of flying.
So that's nonstop?
Nonstop.
I mean, that means no refueling, no stopping.
No.
Now, let me ask you something. You have this thing in autopilot. Will you get some sleep?
No, you're not going to be sleeping at any time because you do need to monitor the engine. If you had another pilot
so
with
you can't take a nap.
No, there's no naps.
All right. I don't know. I mean, that's a legitimate question.
No, absolutely is, because 11 hours is a long time.
It is.
And you get bored, and you know, it's not that much fun being in an airplane.
Have you worked out all the details about going to the restroom? Is that all been straightened out? You got all that figured out?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
All right.
I do.
We don't need to go any further with that one. What about food?
Food, so I'm bringing dehydrated food along with me.
Okay.
So stuff that won't perish, you know.
Right. Have you tried that yet?
I've had food like that before. Yeah. I haven't had it lately.
Right.
You know, don't eat it when you don't have to.
Yeah,
So
I want to put this video up on this big screen again.
Okay.
Let's turn you around. And this was on your 14th birthday. You became the youngest pilot in the Central California Soaring Club to fly a glider solo. Let's take to the videotape, and you can talk about this. That's you at the age of 14 years old. Look at that. Well, actually, you don't look much different now.
Well, thank you, I think. No, that
Just kidding,
that's me at the age of 14. And on this day, this is actually my birthday.
Really?
So
All right, so tell us what happened here.
In gliding, you have to be 14 to solo an airplane.
And this was a glider.
This was a glider, yeah.
Okay.
So I soloed 2 gliders on my 14th birthday.
Where did this happen?
In Avenal, California.
Okay.
And gliding is, as you can see here, the glider is being towed up by a power plane right in front.
Sure.
So when you get released off, like I'm flying by myself there without any power plane, it's really cool. Everything kind of gets quiet. And
oh, come on. Tell me your heart's not pounding right here.
No.
This is your first time by yourself in the air with a glider.
Okay, well, I mean...
Your heart's going like this, right?
So I would have been a little nervous at that moment. But I had done it so many times.
Really?
Before my solo flight, yeah.
Yeah, and there you are coming down.
And there I am coming. That's with my instructor, Harold Gallagher. Who's been my instructor ever since. I'm actually going to be flying with him later today.
Okay.
Great guy, but...
so that's you on the left there with the baseball
that's
cap.
That's me on the left, yeah.
14 years old.
Probably not even as tall as the wing there.
Yeah, so this was, what, 6 years ago?
This is, 6 years ago. About a little more than 6 years ago. And, yeah, that's kind of where it all started, was gliding.
Why flying? Why the passion?
Why flying? I've always been interested in aviation. Flying and planes have just fascinated me forever. We had a family friend who was in the National Guard, and he took me out to the National Guard and put me in the simulators and, kind of let me look around the airplanes, and I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So flying's always kind of just, I guess, been in my blood. And I was never very good at baseball or soccer or football.
When did you get this brainy idea to fly around the world? How old were you?
I was 17 when I learned about the record. And at the time, it was held by an individual out of Florida, Barrington Irving.
Okay.
And Barrington has a very, very cool story. He was not only the first... he was not only the youngest person to fly around the world at the time, but he was also the first African-American to fly around the world.
He holds the record now as the youngest?
No, someone has since taken it.
And that is?
Carlo from Switzerland, Carlo Schmidt.
And how old
Carlo
was
is
he when he
22.
did it? Okay.
22, yeah.
So you're beating the world record by 2 years?
Yes.
He was 22, you're 20.
20, yeah.
Okay, so you take off this week, you go to Colorado, obviously. And if you complete this trip, then what's next on the agenda?
So right after the flight, I intend to go back to school and get my degree. I'm a business major at the University of Colorado.
You're not going to go into engineering or
it's funny. A lot of people would think that, but no, I really don't have a desire to be an airline pilot, and I don't think I'm smart enough to be an engineer. So. No, but the business has just fascinated me. Doing this trip is like running a business, really. It's getting all these different things together and making it work, Right. And there's been highs and there's been lows.
You stop and think about how many people have actually flown around the world. It's only been, maybe at the most 400 people.
Yeah.
Many more people, like you said earlier, have flown into outer space and have actually flown around the globe.
That's true.
And so you're going to be in a very select group.
Yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. So you've got the satellite phone. Our number is 436-ME-TV. We'll give you all that.
436-ME-TV, okay.
Yeah, we'll give you all the numbers and the options before you leave the studio here today. You can call us. Or
I'd like to do that, yeah.
It's too bad we don't have the number to your satellite phone. That way we can possibly call you.
No, the satellite phone's, it's more for outgoing calls. Ingoing, because you only turn it on when you need to use it, so it's not on at all times.
Depending on what time zone you're in, though, that's the problem. We don't know where you're going to be at
we'll have to
10:30 in the morning California time.
We'll have to coordinate it.
Yeah, through Doug? We'll have to do something there.
Absolutely.
There's no question about it.
Absolutely.
We wish you all the best.
Well, thank you.
The most important thing is, Jack, is stay safe.
Yeah, I agree.
Stay safe and come back in one piece.
I will.
And good luck. Bring us back some souvenirs wherever you go.
I can do that.
When you get done with your trip, come back on the show and tell us all about it.
That'd be great.
Show us some pictures.
I'll have plenty of pictures by the end, I'm sure.
All right, that's going to do it for us today on this special edition of Connect with Me. Jack Wiegand, we wish him the best of luck. 20-year-old flying around the world starting this week. We're back with another edition of Connect with Me tomorrow. Stay safe. See you then.
Do you like me?
Just like me.
Like Me TV Fresno on Facebook. Get the latest news, interact with others, watch videos, become a fan of me. Exclusively brought to you by Ventura TV.
Look at that. Isn't that a great layout? You son of a gun.
This campaign is no good.
No good?
Darren and Larry, the original Mad Men on Bewitched.